In this video, Sigrid is finally here in ZZZ Zone 0. We're gonna break down all of her kit, her team synergies, her best builds, her Mindscapes, and more. As a reminder, all of the content in this video is from the creator beta server of ZZZ Zone 0. As such, some information, results, and values may slightly change for her full release very soon. Thank you very much to Hoyoverse for granting early access, and let's dive in. Sigrid is our upcoming S-rank ice attack agent as an on-field main DPS. She has a ton of powerful self-buffs and insane damage capability, so let's jump in with some important concepts. First, let's take a look at this meter and these pips under her character profile LinkedIn picture. The meter portion acts as a timer for her most important state, called Aerial Patrol Spear, and the pips indicate what stage of Converging Spear you are on. These all work perfectly in tandem to illustrate very cool combos that Sigrid can do. Specifically with her basic attack's 4th hit, EX special attacks, assist follow-up, chain attack, ultimate, and dodge counter, we have a skill type of Sigrid's called Unbridled Spear. Basically, when any of these skills that I just mentioned hit, you'll enter the aerial patrol state. This will automatically give you an insane crit rate buff and has amazing build implications for later in the video from her core passive. But the main thing we're interested here in the aerial patrol state is basic attack Converging Spear. This is almost the entire focus of Sigrid's combat loop, and is her most important damaging skill. Converging Spear has 3 stages, and remember that these pips indicate which stage you are in. Each activation increases the stage by 1 through any of those attacks I mentioned, like chain attack and dodge counter. Indeed, this is how simple Sigrid's game plan is. Get into the aerial patrol state using any of those attacks, gaining a charge of Converging Spear, use the Converging Spear for the most damage, and then continue to charge to get to the next stage. There is a lot of cool stuff happening behind the scenes though that we can discuss in this kit breakdown section. Basic attack Frost Tipped Spear is a 4 forward slash move dealing ice damage, and that 4th hit is considered an Unbridled Spear. We talked a lot about Converging Spear already, but there's a couple of extra cool things built into the skill. A bit more of an advanced tech you can do is to block any enemy damage with the 1st or 2nd charging portion of Converging Spear. If you do activate this block successfully, the entire attack's damage is negated, you'll deal 100% more days, the aerial patrol spear state is refreshed, and you'll gain an extra stage of basic attack Converging Spear. So yeah, there's a lot of really good advantages from getting a perfect block, similar to how our Rupture characters would. Another really cool part about Sigrid's kit as a whole, as indicated here in the last blurb of Converging Spear, is that a lot of your combos will be retained when going into Converging Spear. This is really nice for how fluid and fun she feels, which is one of the main things I like about her as a whole. Moving on to special attack Frostflower, you won't ever really use this much. It's a pretty cool animation that'll deal 3 forward thrusts. Her EX special attacks Scattered Jade and Shattered Jade do pretty much the exact same thing as well, just depending on which state you're in. Scattered Jade is when you aren't in the aerial patrol spear, and Shattered Jade is when you are in the aerial patrol spear. Both skills are considered Unbridled Spear, so they'll give you a charge of that basic attack, and both forms also have that cool ability of retaining your basic attack chain. The only thing to mention about her assist follow-up and dodge counter is that both will be considered Unbridled Spear, but her chain attack has a little bit more info in it. First, you'll gain a new buff called Tempered, which will increase the damage dealt by your Converging Spear attacks by 20% for 50 seconds. And you'll gain a new state called Formation Breaker, in which the aerial patrol spear will not decrease. Pretty much every time after you use chain attack, you'll be holding down the button to activate this last blurb here, where you'll use all 3 stages of basic attack Converging Spear right in a row. After you use the last stage, your Formation Breaker state will end, and whatever stage you were on before this chain attack will be restored after the chain attack is over. As you can imagine, this could lead to some pretty funny scenarios where you're doing 3 stages of Converging Spear twice in a row. When your decibel rating is at 3000, aka the maximum, you always know what time it is. Press Q to activate Ultimate Frozen Heavens. Not too much to mention about this skill, other than the fact that it deals massive ice damage and is also an unbridled spear attack. But now it is time for our essay portion of this video, the core passives. This first blurb of core passive Sky Knight tells us about every single one of her unbridled spear attacks, and how we will enter the aerial patrol state after using one of them. When you do trigger or refresh the aerial patrol spear, its duration will decrease depending on what stage you're on. At stage 1, it's 8 seconds, stage 2 is 7, stage 3 is 6 seconds. And yes, you don't need to get your eyes checked, that is actually a 66% crit rate increase inside the aerial patrol spear. Oh, and as a bonus, you also get a 20% stun damage multiplier when you hit a stunned enemy. Additional ability Legion of the Skies will activate with another support or stun character, and will increase Sigrid's attack by 120 base. At max level, you'll get 840 attack instead, and damage increases by 15% when hitting enemies in the contamination state. Of course, if you have any questions about her kit or core passives as a whole, feel free to let me know in the comments below, but let's move on to her best build section. Starting with the W engine, the best in slot will be the signature made for her, Knight's Extolment. This W engine is crazy strong, and I absolutely give it the edge over Mindscape 1. As per the usual for most of our attack characters, Sigrid's best stats are crit damage, crit rate, attack, and pen ratio. So it's excellent that our advanced stat for Knight's Extolment is crit damage. In addition, when you use the equipper's basic attack or EX special attack, they gain 1 stack of Battle Edge, increasing crit damage by 32% for 25 seconds, and you can stack this up to twice, making a total of 64% more crit damage. But wait, there's more, because at 2 stacks of Battle Edge, you'll gain Bone Chill, which will have the equipper ignore 20% of the target's ice resistance with their damage. Thankfully, since we have so many good engines in the attack category, we have a lot of other options for her as well. For limited engines, you can use Severed Innocence, which is Soldier Zero Anby's, Myriad Eclipse, which is Hugo Vlad's, or you could go old school and use Riot Suppressor Mark 6, which is of course Zhu Yuan's signature. Also, as a side note, think about how cool it would be to have Zhu Yuan in the Vision Potential system. I mean, we need it! But anyway, if you're not going to use any of those limited engines, then you can use the Brimstone, which is just a really good engine overall. And if you do want to use an A rank engine for whatever reason, you can always use Cannon Rotor, which I think is actually kind of an underrated engine. As for the disk drives, there's actually a very easy set that you should pretty much always be using for her, both in the 4-piece and the 2-piece. Her best in slot 4-piece, and the only one you should be using, is Dawn's Bloom, which is so primarily focused on basic attack, which is of course Sigrid's main primary force of damage. As for the 2 pieces, you only ever really need to use Branch and Blade Song for the crit damage. However, you technically can still use Puff or Electro because pen ratio is still very good on Sigrid. As for main stats, we actually get to be a little bit weird here, because slot 4 should only be crit damage. Slot 5 should be ice damage bonus, however you can use pen ratio with really good substats, and slot 6 should only be attack percent. Substats follow the same priority, with crit damage being the most important, followed by attack percent, and then the rest. So now we know how powerful Sigrid is, how to use her properly, and how to build her. We need to start building some team synergies. Because of how much she can self-sustain her build with her buffs, she actually works in a pretty good amount of attack-oriented teams, even more so than some of our other agents. As you can see in this little team list, the best option is to go with that stun and support combo with her, but my favorite partner to use her with was Norma. Indeed, my favorite team was this first one you see here, with Sigrid, Norma, and Suna. Remember that Sigrid wants to be the star of the show and needs to be on the field for the most time. As such, Norma works extremely well with her for not only damage, building up a ton of days, but also those chain attacks that we can get in very easily with Norma's kit. Suna, on the other hand, is just an amazing pick for pretty much every team, and is arguably one of our best supports, if not the best. Aside from these characters, you have other options. For stun, instead of Norma, you can have Lycone or Jafufu, and both worked reasonably well, especially since Von Lycone got his new vision potential system a few patches ago. For other supports, Astra Yao is your next best option, and is always going to be a top tier character. So really, you have a bunch of good options for what you can use with Sigrid. Just make sure it's generally that attack, stun, support basis. For those of you who want a little bit more giddy up out of your horsey Thyron, let's talk about some Mindscapes. Mindscape 1 gives you an additional activation of basic attack Converging Spear upon entering the aerial patrol spear state. When you go above the 3 store limit, the next basic attack Converging Spear's final hit will deal an additional 100% of attack as ice damage, and your attack will increase by 25% for Sigrid. Mindscape 2 increases the pen ratio of Unbridled Spear attacks and Converging Spear by 24%, extends Aerial Patrol Spear by 2 seconds, and Sigrid's decibel generation rate increases by 10%. Mindscape 4 says that each time you activate Aerial Patrol Spear, damage dealt increases by 18% for 8 seconds, and you could repeat the triggers extending the duration by 8 seconds, up to a maximum of 40 seconds. Mindscape 6 that depending on which stage of basic attack Converging Spear you're on, you'll deal an additional 80, 90, or 100% attack as ice damage. It also reduces the Formation Breaker limit upon hitting a stunned enemy with Chain Attack. Plus, you'll also get the basic attack Converging Spear charging faster from Formation Breaker. And there you have it for our brand new Horsey Thyron waifu. Overall, this character is extremely fun to play and very fluid in her combo and combat loop. But I want to hear from every single one of you in the comments below. What do you think about Sigrid? And how many copies are you going to pull of her? As usual, if the guide helped in any way, please make sure to like the video and subscribe for more early access Zenless Zone Zero. In the meantime, I thank you all very much for watching. Remember that you are all loved, and bye for now.